Welcome to the only show recorded in the video store of the mind. It is a spooky spaghetti covered in nostalgia sauce. This is Nite Shift Video. Each week, we review a scary movie and share the spooky stories and paranormal mysteries that relate to the film. Before we get into it, do not forget to like, subscribe, do all the internet things. If you leave any kind of review on any of those podcasting apps that you have, we will read the entire review on the show. All right, summer camp, week 3.
Week 3, baby.
Nite Shift summer camp.
Let's go.
Camp Nite Shift. That's what I should have said.
Camp Nite Shift. That's all right. Camp Nite Shift.
Camp Nite Shift. Wait, is that racist? I probably shouldn't do that.
I don't know. No.
Trying to make Nite Shift sound like a fake native word. That I probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't do that.
That's probably a bad idea.
Sure.
Camp Nite Shift. We'll just leave it at that.
I like it. No kids are coming to Camp Nite Shift.
It sounds like some kind of like, it's like hedonism, but summer camp.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of old naked people.
Yeah. What is this, Midsummer? That's about right. Camp Nite Shift.
All right. I got a story for us. This one's a little bit longer than the stories that I've had in previous weeks, but I tried to trim it down and kind of compress it. This one was a little bit, it was an urban legend with a little bit more to it. It's funny because I keep calling them urban legends. They're technically not urban really in any way, and that's kind of the point because they're camp stories. So rural legends?
Rural legends. Yeah.
All right, 1845. A boy living in San Felipe Springs, which is currently known as Del Rio in Texas, he reportedly saw a creature with long hair covering its features that looked like a naked girl attacking a herd of goats in the company of a pack of wolves.
Okay.
Dude, I knew this one would get you.
All right. Man.
The town eventually found the said wolf girl. They captured her and locked her up, unsure what to do with her. But as night fell, the cowboys heard terrifying howls coming from the wolf girl's room. The strange cries carried through the still night air, unsettling her captors, and soon finding answers from among the wolf pack in the wilderness beyond the shack where she was kept. Soon, there were long, deep howls coming from all sides as the pack drew closer to the house, and occasionally strange howling screams from the girl, answering them from inside the dark room. Suddenly, a large pack of wolves charged into the corrals, attacking the goats, cows, and horses, bringing the cowboys outside shooting and yelling to drive them away. In all the confusion, the wolf girl managed to tear the planks from the window and escape into the night. The howls soon abated, and the wolves crept back into the wilderness. The next day, not a trace of the girl could be found. They say that if you go into the woods near Lake Espinosa on the night of a full moon, you might hear the ghost girl howling. And the only way to ensure your safety is to howl back at her, so she knows that you're one of her kind.
I think I dated this chick. That's good, man. That's a good one.
The wolf girl of Del Rio.
That's a good one. Again, another kind of unruly time in history, and you got what, maybe, I don't know, 24 people's word for it, but
sure.
I mean, heck, if nothing else, wolves are storming into town. Yikes! That alone is.
I will say there is a lot more to this legend. There's plenty that I cut out. There is a whole origin story of where they even believe the wolf girl came from.
Oh, wow.
Kind of telling it almost as if this is like a, what do they call that? Not abandoned, feral, like a feral child story, kind of like that episode of X-Files that we all know about if you watched X-Files.
Yeah.
Or what was that movie? Mama. That movie Mama that had like the the kind of feral kids, and then like their mom followed them, but she's like a ghost.
Yeah.
So yeah, like a feral child story of like she was raised by wolves with wolves, and then they found her, and then there were actually multiple sightings of her before the cowboys were able to capture her, and it was a whole thing, man. A whole thing.
That's cool. Oh, you better believe I'm a Texas. I'm gonna start howling. I don't care where I am. Just
in Texas, see the moon, let out a howl, just in case.
I am in Dallas, right downtown, just standing on the star. I don't want Wolf Girl to get me. Yikes. That's good, man. That's a good story. Okay, I got one for you.
Yep.
Got one for you. Okay. Hidden on a back road, Camp Connecticut, is a derelict summer camp with a dark history. Before the area was a camp, a poverty-stricken family lived in the woods. Driven insane with hunger and thirst, the man killed his daughter and wife before hanging himself from a tree.
Oof.
When the area was developed into a camp hundreds of years later, a camp counselor went crazy, killing 60 children and 4 other counselors by locking them in their cabins and setting them on fire. Before drowning herself, the counselor scratched the hanging man, the counselor scratched the hanging man told me into a tree near the lake. People believe the guilt-ridden ghost of the man haunts the empty camp, with people hearing the hysterical laughter in the woods in the dead of the night.
Dude, that's another one that's just a straight up movie. Like, that's the beginning of a horror movie. They tell the story, and then like the guy or the girl like appears behind him in the fucking woods. Like,
yeah. And again, like a lot of these stories are often passed on.
Yeah.
From like generation to generation, but it's not that impactful. Like that, like quote unquote interference from like that man or that ghost figure to the council. I don't know. I've watched enough horror movies. Like I feel like I could say like that would change the perspective. Like,
sure.
Again, I heard some wild stories from where I worked, but like none of them impacted me because I wasn't from there. I didn't, you know what I mean? And like, it's good, man.
It's good.
It's a good story.
It's good. All right. So a few movies, again, just great summer camp flicks. We have Camp Blood. And then my other one for today is our feature presentation. It's Sleepaway Camp 3. We've made it to the end of the traditional trilogy of sleepaway camps.
Let's go.
And so this was for those that have been following along. This is actually the first time that we are actually recording this one in correct chronological order.
Yep.
So Cody, you've not seen Sleepaway Camp 3.
I've not seen this one yet. So I watched one.
Yep.
I have thoughts. You should go back and listen to that one if you haven't heard my thoughts. 2, I also had thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and listen to Josh and I both. We both had thoughts.
That's right.
This week I will have thoughts.
You will.
And stay tuned.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too because I feel like after coming out of 2, I'm going to have a different expectation than I had for 2.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So like I had a certain expectation coming out of 1 for the next step.
Yes.
I won't say here if it made it or it didn't.
Sure.
But now, knowing what I know, I have a different step.
Yeah, based off of 2, you definitely have a different image in your mind.
And so I think there are different things that I'm looking for, whether I'm going to really enjoy it or maybe not so much.
Yep.
I think I'm going to enjoy it either way, but in different ways. You know what I mean? So,
and also this is going to be a Nite Shift first. That we've actually reviewed Sleepaway Camp 3 before. So snap. What's interesting enough for me is I, may even say something different this time around. I really don't know. We did this one. I did this one with Alex sometime in 2019. And yeah, I was going to skip over it for this month, but then July was perfect and it had 5 Wednesdays in it and we release every Wednesday. So I was like, you know what? I got really Minnesota in there for a second.
Really Minnesota. Don't you know it?
So we're just gonna do it again for the first time ever. Repeat review. If I completely contradict myself, well then fuck me, right?
Yep. I mean, why not? Either way. And then also we got new voices, hey, what'd this guy think about this movie? And I feel like this series is It's on the map enough, ironically, because I'm just now seeing them. It's hard for me to say that, but like, I don't know. I've heard about these for years,
right?
And like, it's time for us to go ahead and make our mark on this section of kind of that horror genre, the Sleepaway Camp series. So let's do it. Let's repeat it.
Cool. There you go. Well, we will take a break and we will be back with our feature presentation.
Now available on home video.
And now our feature presentation.
Before we get into our movie, if anyone out there wants to help out the show, please just tell a friend. That is the best way that we've seen growth for the show. And when people are tuning in, we can do more things. You can also join us on Patreon at patreon.com/Nite Shift Video. That is NITESHIFTVIDEO, where your monthly donations will give you access to our Discord channel, Let's Watch audio tracks, and a bunch of other physical goodies and stuff like that. Okay, Sleepaway Camp 3, my man.
Let's go.
3. This is the first time we've really ever done like a series and just gone through them like this too.
It's true. Yeah.
So a lot of firsts.
We've done genres, we've done eras, we've done directors. Yep. But this is the first of going just bop, bop, bop.
Bop, 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 bop.
I like it. Let's go.
So the cover of Sleepaway Camp 3.
Okay.
This is the original VHS cover.
Oh.
We have a lot going on similar to the Sleepaway Camp 2 cover.
Yeah.
Just in the idea of like, first of all, it's a model who's not an actress that's in the movie.
I was going to say, I don't recognize.
This is not
from the nose down.
Yep. This is not Pamela Springsteen whatsoever. And then the Sleepaway Camp 2 one had this kind of goofy, silly thing where like it was kind of poking at other slashers. So there was like the Jason mask on her backpack and the little Freddy hand hanging out. I think they were trying to play at Halloween here.
Yeah.
With her holding like the classic, like, kitchen knife.
Yeah.
And then even having like a face within the kitchen knife.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not as like direct.
I would say that this is the classic. Like, there's like, when you think of relatively low budget horror movies, there's a couple images on the cover that come to mind. And there's kind of this, which is like a nondescript female's face. And that's not to say that the female isn't described. It's like they're going for certain aspects of their objective features, right? And that's not necessarily the best way to say that, but and then there's the other one where they are like they're standing with like their hindquarters.
Yes.
Right? Like there's like
that's
a couple
that's the
that's
textbook like revenge horror cover of like a chick with like her ass center frame and like looking past her. She's maybe holding like a bloody blade or something. Looking past her, maybe there's like a dead person or something spooky.
Or like through her legs.
Like I Spit on Your Grave. Like
and
all of those sequels that it had.
I want to be really clear. I'm not like advocating for any of these. Like, I don't need that for a movie, nor do I need it for cover art.
Yeah.
And so this is like, if I was walking in Blockbuster circa like 10, 15 years ago, I would walk right by this.
I will say this one over the other two is definitely last on the list, like compared to the other two. I think the second one was being kind of jokey and cheeky enough that it would catch my attention as a horror fan.
Almost verging on parody.
Yes.
Like almost like a Scary Movie-ish.
Right.
Where if I was walking through a movie store, and I get that some of our younger listeners may not get that idea, but the older ones definitely will. Like you're gonna look at that and think like, actually, it's the reason I rented a shitty movie called Live Free or Die. Because at the same time, Live Free or Die Hard just came out, and we didn't we watched that. It was awful, but there's this title and it's like almost the same. And then like it has something to do with, I think that's the Vermont
Oh, okay.
status. So like on the license plate, that's their phrase. Live free or die. And I think Vermont or
kind of like Garden State.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same reason we watch that. It's like just enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas this one definitely, it leaves a lot to be desired. There is a quote on the front.
Okay.
She's back to slash last year's record.
Okay.
When we started watching this movie,
Okay.
the first thing we said was, they're really steering into it this time.
And I will say, kind of in my anticipation for this, it's the only way I would give this some sort of success.
Yeah.
If you didn't really push it, if I didn't get the puns, if I didn't get the one-liners, if I didn't get the shots,
This movie
was going to be awful. It was going to be worse than 2, and 2 in my book was kind of rough.
Yeah. This definitely is like, we know what we're making.
Yep.
And like, I can't help but think of something like Rocky Horror Picture Show, even though, I mean, I'll be the first to say that has so much more talent and artistry involved with it being a musical, and like there's so much more going on there. But in just like what Rocky Horror was doing though was kind of poking those holes and poking fun at movies. Yeah, it pokes a lot of holes. At those kind of silly sci-fi horror movies from like the 60s. Like that was the whole point of it.
Yep.
And this movie is kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can kind of give it that.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and read the back of the box description. I guess I could have just read it off of that image, but I'm just going to go back and read it off the image. Okay. Back of the box, Sleepaway Camp 3. Pamela Springsteen gives a slashing performance as Angela, a murderous camper who returns to Camp Happy Woods, where she previously had killed most of the campers. The camp reopens under an inept new management team played by Michael J. Pollard and Sandra Dorsey. This is the ideal setting for Angela, who is dedicated to doing her job of eliminating immoral teenagers. Armed with an arsenal of knives, guns, ropes, axes, and even a lawnmower, Angela puts away everybody except for Marcia and her boyfriend in a no-holes-barred cat fight. Marcia repeatedly stabs Angela and sends her off in an ambulance, thinking she will never have to see her again. Or will she? This back of the box leaves nothing to the imagination.
Nothing.
Anything that was suspenseful or questioned, any questions that were asked, immediately erased just by the back of the box.
But I think that's so we have ventured into slasher phase, where it's less about the storyline, it's less about the characters, it's more about the kills.
You're right.
And I would say for where they went with 2, this is where they had to go with 3.
I agree.
And if they didn't go here, or if they deviated somehow, it was going to tank really hard.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the numbers were at the end of it, but I will say 3 was better than 2. Because they steered so hard into it.
Yeah.
It was the kind of the quintessential, we know you don't care about any of our people and we're going to make them bad.
Sure.
You're going to kind of root for Angela because now she has this this holier than thou Boondock Saints mission.
And she even gets that
purging the earth.
She even gets that like Freddy Krueger-esque like one-liners with each kill, and they were flirting with that in the script of Sleepaway Camp 2, but they're just like all in on it here.
Yep.
And it's good. It's funny.
It's some of them are better than others, but
right. I mean, they're all bad.
Yeah.
But they're all dad jokes, but they're funny.
Some of them are like, that's good. That's good. And like I said, Had they not, if they tried to stay in a serious horror vein,
I mean, the first one is
just
so
yes,
serious.
yes.
Realistically. Like, there are funny things about it, but they were not funny on purpose.
Yep.
Then the second one, they kind of flirt with being funny on purpose. And then the third one, they're like, no, it's a horror comedy.
Yep.
That's 100% what it is.
Yep.
So I'm going to give out my Nite Shift awards first. I still haven't decided whether they're called Nighties or Shifties or Night Shifties. I think I just like Shifties the most.
Okay.
Shifty awards.
Okay.
So the first one is going to go to Kashina Kessler, who plays Maria, who is the very first person that we see on screen. We also just see her breasts immediately. If that has any bearing on what you think about this movie, boobs in the movie a lot, like more so even than the first two films.
Yep.
Like, this is definitely like almost like grindhouse level, like drive-in trash is what this movie is. And it's okay with being that. It wants to be that.
And I will say they don't flirt with further, which is kind of nice.
That's true.
Like, it's not a Friday the 13th reboot,
right?
Where it's like, is this further than that? Like, is this okay? Like, I don't know. Like, it's hard to really pinpoint it, but like, I wouldn't say, like, coming up in a conservative household, my parents wouldn't have been okay with much, but they would have been okay more with like this than like the new Friday the 13th reboots,
right?
Where it's like, this is more like soft core stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
or even like, I mean, I hate to bring it up, but like that sexual assault / rape scene in like the Hills Have Eyes reboot. Like, I mean, I remember watching that as like a middle schooler and be like, fuck, like it fucked with my head. Like that stuff's intense. It's never portrayed in that way in this movie.
Not even close. And again, like, is it necessary? Is it necessary? No,
it's completely unnecessary. No. And like these poor actresses, like, there's probably some really pervy person on set that's like, make her take her shirt off again. She's like, oh, okay, if that gives me a paycheck. And like, that's really shitty and terrible. But like, at the same time, in the lens of what it is as this kind of 80s thing, which is kind of trying to, be a shitty drive-in movie. Like, it works and it's fine and it doesn't feel as gross as it could.
Exactly.
So Kashina Kessler gets my first shifty she's in the movie for literally 2 minutes, if that. She's killed off immediately, and she's the first character that we see on screen. Also, she has tattoos that I don't know. I assume are fake. I don't know if they're fake because we see her breasts almost immediately, and on one breast it says milk, and on the other breast it says shake. So she has tattoos that say milkshake. And I would really like to know, Kashina Kessler, what the story is behind the milkshake tattoos. Did you actually have those at the time? Did someone pen them on? What was the creative thought process behind having tattoos on your boobs that say milkshake when you're only in the movie for like 2 minutes?
It seemed very poignant that they were there.
They make a very specific choice to show that those exist.
Yep.
Not just the boobs, but the tattoos. It's I don't know. It's an interesting choice. I would love to know more about the story. My next shifty award goes to Michael J. Pollard, who plays Herman, which is the camp director this time around. And he plays the perviest camp director that we have seen to date. Not to say that the guy in the first movie wasn't pervy, because he definitely was. But this is worse.
This guy is why summer camps have been shut down. Not necessarily because these people exist, and maybe they do. I'm not
like the stereotype alone existing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I don't want to get like too political here, but it's kind of like a Catholic priest situation.
I don't want to be an apologist. Like, it's just the thought that this person could exist it's not worth it. It's not worth the
Right.
risk of me sending my kid
100%.
there. So like
100%.
like could they exist? Yeah. Okay. No, I'm not sending my kid. Like
Right.
but this is like there's a line and then they like
They
way
cross the
over
line so many times. And I said it
Way over
the
the line.
last time that I reviewed this film, and I will say it again. The thing about it that is just even worse is just that, like, Michael J. Pollard, like, he's an accomplished actor, but he's a goofy ass looking dude. And like, he's able to score who they set up this character as like the hot chick at camp that year that all the guys want to get with, and it just makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. It's mind-boggling why they chose these two actors to do this together. Like, even just watching it feels weird. Like,
yeah.
they end up hooking up, I guess, is the spoiler. But I give Michael J. Pollard as Herman a Shifty award. Not because of how pervy the character is, but because of how Michael J. Pollard actually does a good job. Like, he does a good job. And like, what they really did in this one, even more so than they did the first one, is as doofy as Herman is, and as he's in the movie for a less amount of time than the camp director in the first film.
Okay.
He's still... Like, I know he's pervy and I know that he's disgusting. Like, if this person existed as a real person, I would not be saying the things that I'm saying.
Okay.
Because it's disgusting. But in the movie, as a character, like, it's funny shit.
Doofy as hell.
Like, when he's holding, he has to like lift up his frumpled sweatshirt to like show the girls his belt buckle. That's a Playboy bunny. And he's like, it's fucking funny. It's gross. It's disgusting.
Yep.
If anyone were to do this in real life, like, I'd want to fucking like punch him in the face. Yep. But when Michael J. Pollard does it as Herman, it makes me laugh.
Goofy as hell. Goofy as hell. The whole character is just like, what? You are a caricature of what you think this role should be. Like, it's
he's literally playing like a cartoon character.
Yep.
Like, even if this person, 100%. Even if this pervy camp counselor, camp director guy exists in the real world, which I'm sure somewhere, someplace has happened.
Yep.
He's not a cartoon character version of it.
Right.
And like Michael J. Pollard is.
Yep.
It's funny. It's just funny.
Yep.
So my next one goes out to Tracy Griffith, who plays Marcia. That's our final girl.
Okay.
Tracy Griffith actually originally auditioned for the role of Angela in Sleepaway Camp 2. And Pamela Springsteen ended up getting it instead, and then they brought her back as the final girl in this film. The next one goes to Haynes Brooke, who plays Bobby.
Oh, Bobby.
Who's this Larry Bird looking motherfucker.
Bobby.
Who's goofy as shit in the whole movie. And his best moment was whenever he confesses to Angela that he likes to be tied up, but she can't tell anybody because I might lose an election someday.
Yeah, Bobby, you can't tell people that.
Tied up.
Can't tell people that you might lose an election if you get tied up.
And Haynes Brooke / Bobby's claim to fame is that if y'all remember those Jimmy Dean sausage commercials where like there was a guy who was in like a big fucking sun costume and he would like show up at offices and they'd be like having a bad case of the Mondays and be like, hey, but Jimmy Dean sausage is here. And he'd like bring people sandwiches or breakfast bowls and shit. Same dude. Fucking Haynes Brooke plays the sun S-U-N. I want to make sure everyone understands.
Yep.
The solar sun, Solaris. He plays the sun in the Jimmy Dean commercials from like the mid 2000s.
And those were damn good commercials.
They were funny commercials.
Just saying, man.
And this guy got a start in Sleepaway Camp 3.
Let's go.
Look at that.
He's made more of a name for himself than some of these other people.
100%. I can't deny that. My last one is going to go again to I'm going to be honest, guys.
I'm ready.
I was taking these notes while we're watching the movie, as I do, because I want to have the freshest notes as possible.
Yep.
And somewhere along the line, instead of Pamela Springsteen, I wrote Pamela Anderson.
Yeah, why not? Sure.
Pamela Springsteen as Angela. I think that's where the A came in somewhere.
Yeah.
She gets another shifty. She's done a great job reprising the role of Angela.
Yep.
Angela this time is literally what we said. She is a slasher villain. She is a funny slasher villain.
Yep.
Now she is a Freddy-esque character, and some of the one-liners she delivers are so stupid and so cringy.
Yep.
Yet so funny and good at the same time.
Yep.
And she's also wearing the worst wig I have ever seen in this movie. If there's one thing that I have to say in criticism of this film is why the fuck did you make Pam Springsteen wear this wig? Just tease her hair out, y'all. Like, what's with the wig? It's bad. You wasted money on it. You could have saved money by not using the wig.
I like to think that she has really nice hair under there.
Well, we saw her real hair in the first movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that could have been better.
Yep.
Budget for this film, $465,000.
Okay.
The exact same amount as Sleepaway Camp 2.
Okay.
This movie was actually filmed back to back with Sleepaway Camp 2.
Okay.
They filmed both movies in 6 weeks, taking no break in between.
Wow.
They were writing the screenplay for Sleepaway Camp 3 while they were filming Sleepaway Camp 2.
Okay.
They had 1 weekend in between of pre-production.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Insanity. So basically the guys are making Sleepaway Camp 2 and they're like, this is going really well. We should do another one.
Yep. And let's roll with the times because where we are.
Rolling with it.
And let's expect nothing from our actors as far as like delivery,
No.
chemistry.
No.
Like, so like if anything seems clunky, write it off. It's fine.
Yep.
No big deal. Yeah.
Yep. A couple kind of fun facts here. The Herman, there's a lot of death scenes that were way more elaborate in the script. They had to cut way back because they had no money and they were filming immediately after the first one.
Right.
Herman was originally supposed to be killed by getting a flaming fire poker shoved into his crotch, with Angela screaming, "A weenie roast!"
It's fitting.
Yep. And then the film was actually originally given an X rating by the MPAA. And it was mostly for the gore and the violence, which I guess maybe some of that got cut in the version that we watched because they cut away a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
But a representative called the director, Michael A. Simpson, to tell him that the woman who watched the film for the MPAA became physically ill and vomited after seeing the flagpole death scene.
Oh.
And that's really why it got an X rating.
Oh. Wow.
Right? Which if you're in Michael A. Simpson's boots in this exact moment, you're like, oh, I win.
Yeah.
That's the highest compliment you could give him at this point.
Yep. Absolutely. And if you're in my boots in 2020, you're like, wait, that's the moment? That's the moment?
I think I became physically ill just seeing Herman, and I don't even remember her name. We didn't even have her on screen enough time to get her name. But Herman and like the hot girl at camp, just seeing them together in the tent was enough to make me physically ill.
Like there's so much. There's so much
the firecracker in the mouth. That's pretty rough. M80.
Or even the poor fish getting the firecracker in the mouth. Like
Also true.
I don't know,
Yeah, a
like
little bit of foreshadowing there.
There's a lot here.
Yep. There is a screenwriting credit given to Fritz Gordon, which we talked about last episode. Fritz Gordon is a pseudonym for producer Michael Hitchcock, who went on to star in several films produced by Christopher Guest, also many TV shows. But the interesting thing for us being in the Midwest about Michael Hitchcock is that he is originally from Defiance, Ohio, which is literally like
No way.
30 minutes at most away from where we're sitting right now.
Yeah, that's
and
wild.
So that is where Marcia is also from. When they say she's from Ohio, she's from Defiance because the writer of the movie was from Defiance.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. All of the characters in this film, obviously other than Angela, are named after characters from West Side Story, The Brady Bunch, or The Munsters.
Makes me a little frustrated.
Just like in the last film, they used all like John Hughes, like teen movies.
Yeah.
They like just chose a selection of films and were like, these are all the characters' names.
Yeah, I don't.
Cody does not approve.
I guess I do because
it doesn't make as much sense this time though.
Yeah, and I guess to some degree, if you're hoping, like if you are some kind of like psych student, you're like, okay, just this name being mentioned will trigger something, right?
Sure,
but
especially like Marsha. Marsha is a character in the movie, like.
Right. But
even as a millennial, I can't hear the name Marsha and not think Marsha. Like we know it.
Yeah. But like how cheap. Like and like maybe that's what you're going for. Like, hey, I have to hustle to get this.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, good on you. You did it. But like as a viewer 30 years later, like yeah, how cheap.
Yeah.
How lame.
No, I kind of agree. Okay, so highlights that I have written down. Obviously, Herman. First of all, we already touched on it, but boobs abound in this movie. We only touched on it really for Maria, but it happens much, much more and very fast and very soon.
Yep.
More fast and soon and somewhat exploitive seeming than even in the first two films. So if that's something that sways you in either direction, I guess take that into account.
Yep.
Stick attacks return with a vengeance in this film. I think if you actually did a body count, I should have did my body count.
Yeah.
If you actually do a body count, I think like more than 50% of people in this movie are just killed by being hit with a stick.
Yep. Smack him with a stick.
Like
15 times, one time, it's hard telling.
There's a couple like big spooky moments where they do things to people to kill them, but like it's mostly just getting hit with a stick.
Whack. Yep, that's it.
Which I have to imagine is due to the budget constraints and time constraints that they were on at the time. My next note is marshmallows roasting on a human fire.
Woo! That was one of the good scenes. That was like when I saw that, and like they don't finish out the scene,
Of course.
but it was just like, okay,
It's funny.
that's different.
It's funny.
It's funny.
Basically, the gist is Angela kills a couple campers, puts them in a tent, sets the tent on fire, and then immediately reaches for a bag of, what do they call it? Jet puff? Is that
Yep.
what the...
Yep.
Reaches for some marshmallows, puts them on a stick,
Yep.
and then we cut away to the next scene, and it's freaking funny.
It's good.
My last highlight note is Angela at one point has to like take out the garbage. And she does this extremely long, dragged out, dramatic Charlie Brown, head down, like shuffling my feet, like dragging the bag behind me walk. And it's fucking hilarious. It's not supposed to be funny. This is a moment that's not supposed to be funny, and it's fucking hilarious.
That whole scene was just, it was Arrested Development.
It was
ridiculous. And but again, it plays into a lot of that slasher comedy.
Yeah.
Like Freddy 3. Like, you get these scenes where it's like, that's not supposed to be taken seriously.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Welcome to
Like,
prime time, bitch.
Yep. Yes.
100%.
Yes. And so it's like, okay, I get it, but also you're not pulling the same punches. Like try a little bit, right? I don't know.
No, I'm there. All right, so that brings us to our scare scale.
Okay.
1 to 5. How scary is this movie?
I think last week for 2, I think I went 1.
I believe you're correct.
I'm gonna go 2.
Okay.
This one is just more unique.
Yeah.
Ups
the ante a little bit.
It does. And certain kills aren't as like prescribed, I guess is maybe the best word for it. Where like like when you walk into it, this is a classic slasher where you walk in knowing everybody dies.
Yes.
Like last week, you kind of think like, oh, some people might get away, only the bad ones, yada. This one is no. Nobody survives.
Yeah.
And so you're looking for unique kills everywhere.
Sure.
And some of them are pretty good. So I'm gonna go 2. Like it's still not like whoa, making me think about anything, but it's certainly better than last week's. It's certainly better than 2.
Cool. For scare scale, I gave it a 1.
Okay.
Just because of the humor. I feel like the humor is so over the top in this one that like, you know, a lot of those stakes don't really matter. Or never. It's true though. What you're saying is right. And we get to a place where because Angela is really who we're rooting for, that what they want to happen and how the story is played out to happen is that once we get to the end, it's like, what happens to Angela?
Yeah.
Does she survive? Like she's our hero at this point.
Yep.
The movie literally opens up with Angela killing Maria, putting on a bad wig and taking her place. And then like she gets on the bus to go to this new camp and there's like graffiti on the wall that literally says Angela is back.
Yep.
Like we're here for Angela.
Yep.
We don't give a shit about any of the campers or the staff. We're here for Angela. And so I do think that what you're saying there is true. And like, it kind of becomes that fear, not because of like what Angela is going to do. It's almost, I feel like I'm giving Sleepaway Camp 3 way too much credit when I say this sentence, but it's true, is that it's almost like a Dexter thing where you're seeing how do they get out of this?
Oh.
What's going to happen next? If they are able to kill all these people, is she able to get away and pick up a new identity and join another summer camp? Like it becomes that more than it's scary because what is Angela going to do to the innocent people?
Yeah.
To the victims. Like I don't care about that anymore. That's just funny.
Yeah.
But like how the fuck does she get out of this? That's the scary, entertaining part.
Yeah. A little lazier, but
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead. Final thoughts, chicken nugget scale. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Hit me with everything you got.
Woo. So last week for 2, I think I went like 60% thumbs down.
That sounds about right.
I'm gonna go the same. If you watch, no. Let me back up. I'm sorry. My brain is working in one speed. My mouth is working in a different. I'm going to go 60% nuggies.
Yep.
Like, if you are watching this, you know what you're getting into.
Yes.
And that's what I said last week. Kinda. But this week I'm going to go thumbs up because kind of like what I said in pre-show, where you kind of have this mentality of like you were from 1 to 2, you were throwing a curveball that you weren't expecting. And then from 2 to 3, you were throwing the curveball that you were expecting.
Yeah,
you knew that it was coming back. And you knew that the only way for success is that they leaned into it and to get the one-liners and to get more like caricature characters.
Yeah.
Like where you get bigger personalities and you get these larger than life situations and you are rooting somehow, some way, dating back to 1 where Angela's the killer and I was blindsided and I was like floored at some of the situations that were, especially at the end. And like now I'm like kind of rooting for her. Good for you. Whoever made those decisions, whatever conversations had to happen, like good job. You did. You have navigated the slasher like map, I guess. And so I won't say it's a better movie than 2.
Yeah.
I would say that there are parts where you could go back and forth and say, well, this is the better movie, this is the better movie. But I think coming off of 2 and how they handled it, it's better.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go about the same percentage scale. I think last week, I did 60 thumbs down.
That sounds right.
And I'm going to go 60 thumbs up. Like this for me, but it would be a different conversation again if there wasn't the 2 buffer there.
Right.
So there you go. There it is.
Cool. So Rotten Tomatoes has this movie at a 13%.
Oh, yikes.
Which I don't know, man. It really depends and when I'm thinking about that, it really depends on what you consider that percentage to be. Is it how good of a movie it is?
Yeah.
Or is it what we've talked about a lot which is how enjoyable or fun, like your entertainment value, I guess, whether in your eyes that's because it's funny, enjoyable, fun, or it's because it's scary, fucked up, makes you think.
Yep.
Like that can go very different ways because like I could rate, say, this movie fairly high because it had a good entertainment value, but also The Lighthouse had a good entertainment value, but they cannot be compared.
Nope.
Like those percentages cannot be compared.
Not at all. Not at all. Yes. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I give this movie a thumbs up, a total thumbs up, but I'm going to put it at a 50% chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Which I think is a little less than I put the second one, which is awkward because I think I actually have more fun with this one.
Yeah.
I think Sleepaway Camp 3, because it leans into itself and becomes much more self-aware, it is a great movie to watch with a group of people.
Yeah.
And I think that especially people who, it's funny, man. Like I didn't know a lot about Sleepaway Camp even before we started this. So I'd watched all of them in other arenas, but not necessarily for the show. And the more I see them, the more fun that I have with them. And I definitely think that 3, like even with things like the one-liners and the way the music hits in the beginning, like we fucking run over Maria.
Oh yeah.
With a fucking dump truck.
Just not just anything, but like it's black and grimy and that diamond plate. Like it's a very distinct image.
And then we see the truck pull away and it says Angela is back and shitty graffiti.
Yep.
And then immediately black screen title card. Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland, the fucking 80s hair metal comes in right there. Like I can just see that at like an outdoor screening experience, and just like as soon as that happens, everyone loses their shit.
Yep.
And like they're just excited and they're in the movie and we're here to have a good time, even if we're kind of sort of making fun of it. Like it has that Rocky Horror Picture Show live screening feel to it.
Yep.
Like it can be that for a certain audience.
Yep.
It has that, what the stab movies were in the fictional world of Scream, and like Scream 4, whenever they're doing like the marathon of all the stab movies and everyone's like saying the lines to the movie, but they're also kind of making fun of how cheesy it is. This movie is that.
Yep.
I want to go to that party. I want to go to that party where there's like 100, it doesn't have to be a big party. There could be 100 people there. We're packed into like a tiny little theater, or like we're doing it outside in someone's yard, and everyone knows all of the fucking one-liners in this movie.
Yep. Like
I want to be there. I want to be at that party, that energy that you feel just watching the film.
Yep.
So because of that, 50%, it's a thumbs up. It needs to be seen. In some ways, maybe needs to be seen more than the second. Yep. I feel like it's difficult jumping straight into 3 without 2. just because you have to see the change from Felissa Rose being Angela to Pamela Springsteen being Angela.
Yep. I would say if there was not, and this is kind of one of those moments where you have to have a down 2.
Yeah.
3. And if this was 2, it would get a shit score.
Yes.
It would get what 2 got for me last week.
Yeah.
But because we had that moment,
the 13% that Rotten Tomatoes puts it at, it would deserve it.
But because we had that buffer of, this is now our identity. This is what we're going for. We're going for this type of slasher. We're going for this kind of humor.
Yeah.
They did it well. And so 2 sucked. 3, good. Good on you. Yes, watch it. But if you didn't see 2, you're not going to get it.
Yes. If you didn't see 2, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it. You can't, it's a weird thing because I don't know, I can't really relate it to anything because I mean, the classic trilogy trope is that the second movie takes a little bit of a dip, but even then, good trilogies are able to make something special out of that. So I'm thinking Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, even if certain part of the narratives do take a dip in Two Towers.
You have Helm's Deep, you have something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I guess that's the thing is that the Sleepaway Camp original trilogy is a trilogy, just maybe not necessarily a good trilogy.
Yep.
Because they didn't really give us the things we really needed for 2 to be redeemable. But at the same time, if you don't see the change from Felissa Rose Angela to Pamela Springsteen Angela, then 3 makes no sense to you.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
I would say, and it's not a 1-to-1. Don't hear what I'm not saying, but it's not a 1-to-1 to but similar to Evil Dead, where Evil Dead, we got the idea of 1, and then it's wow, okay, what is 2 going to be like? And it really was just a more polished version.
That's true. If you know what I mean? Tried to jump from Evil Dead straight into Army of Darkness, you're going to be fucking lost.
Yeah.
It's easy enough to get lost in Army of Darkness as is.
Right. Right. But you have to have that polished, slight direction, a little bit more narrative. There are elements to it that are necessary. And I'm also an Army of Darkness hater.
Just goes too far. I get it.
But
it's not a horror movie, that's for sure.
But I also get kind of what they're doing here, and especially in the grander scope. And I feel it's kind of that type of scenario where it's okay, is it great? No, but without it, you're screwed, right?
Yeah, I really like that you brought up that comparison. I think it's a good one, and I think that that gives us a great place to wrap up. But before we do so, I want to share a piece of horror news with you, just because of that.
Let's go.
Information, and that is that Bruce Campbell has confirmed coming back to play Ash in a new movie called Evil Dead Now. That's pretty much all the information that we have. The director, so Sam Raimi has done this thing with Evil Dead since he's kind of not done anything, which is since Army of Darkness. Where the remake, basically a fairly unknown director who did one thing, and Sam Raimi was like, I like that thing that you did.
Yeah.
And then they say, can I make an Evil Dead movie? And he's like, I like the thing you did enough that I'll say yes. And he basically did it again.
Dang.
So we had the Evil Dead reboot in I think 2013, which we watched, we reviewed it. It's out there.
Yeah.
But he basically did it again. So this director, I forget his name because I wasn't prepared to talk about this today. I was prepared to talk about Sleepaway Camp. This guy, he did a movie. I think it was called A Boy in the Hole, or The Boy in a Hole, or The Boy in the Hole, something like that. I have no idea what it's about.
Okay.
The Boy in the A-Hole.
There's a lot of options there.
Yep. And I don't really know what it's about. I haven't seen anything about it, but apparently it's I believe it's a foreign kind of really fucked up, horror film.
Okay.
And that guy ended up talking to Sam Raimi, and Sam Raimi was like, yes, you can make a new Evil Dead movie. And he said, I'm going to make an Evil Dead movie. And he wrote the script. And then Bruce Campbell saw it and he said, I will be Ash in your script. Even though Bruce Campbell has said multiple times that he's not coming back as Ash. He's coming back as Ash.
Here he comes.
Again. The character that never dies.
Let's go.
And I'm totally on board for it.
That's
it
really
could be a
exciting.
total shit show, and I'd be fine. Like,
Probably will be.
it very well could be. It's called Evil Dead Now.
Right.
What the fuck? Okay, I'm there. Opening day, I'm there. I don't give a shit. Bruce Campbell playing Ash, I'm going to be there. So that about wraps it up here.
Yep.
For Nite Shift Video, I am a horrible host, and my name is James, and this guy is...
I'm Cody.
And we're just saying, thanks for stopping in.